My name is Sarah, I'm 16 years old, and I grew up in a very traditional family. Just so you have an idea, since I was very little, I had been taught that in a good home, the men go out to work and the women stay at home to take care of the house and the children. And the truth is that as I grew up, this worldview started to seem weird to me. I didn't realize how bad it was because that's what I had experienced at home since forever. But when I met the families of my female friends, I noticed that something didn't quite fit. And so I started thinking that once I became an adult, I would create my own ideas, and they didn't have to be the same as my parents' ideas. When I turned 10 years old, my mom started to talk to me every day about my period. And don't get me wrong, it's good that your family teaches you about it and prepares you for it, but my mom was anxious about it. She wished with all her strength that I became a woman soon. And the truth is that I just couldn't understand what she meant by that, but she would say it with a lot of pride. I was very skinny and developed way later than my other female friends. And for some reason, my mom thought that was terrible. Every day, she would ask me if I had got my period yet, and I was sick of it. Oh, and I was very happy about not getting it yet. It was comfier that way, and I could worry about that later on. On the other hand, there were the boys in my class who were pretty childish. The first time they found out one of the girls in class had started menstruating, they made a huge fuss about it. The poor girl felt terrible and wouldn't come back to school until 2 days later. They would constantly tell her that her pants were stained, that now she was an old hag, and a bunch of other nonsense. They were unbearable. And that was just the beginning, because all the other girls started suffering the same fate. I would observe from a distance and couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was extremely unfair that on top of having to suffer the pains of menstruation and the logistics of dealing with it, that they would bully us for that too. And my mother constantly pestering me about it was the icing on the cake. This whole situation resulted in one of our female teachers finding out about the horrible time we girls were going through, and thus she suggested we should read a few books from the library. I was the first one to go check them out. I was looking forward to learning about my period from a source that wasn't my mother, and I sure learned about it. I started devouring books on the subject as if there was no tomorrow. I would bring them home and hide in my room to read them with the excuse of being studying. I learned a lot, especially how menstruation is something completely natural and that there is absolutely no reason for us to feel ashamed about it. Oh, and I also learned a bit about feminism. And you might say, but you're so young. And it's true, but many of the ideas that I read in those books seemed to make more sense to me than the ones I was hearing at home. And from then on, my life changed. During recess, I started talking to my female friends about everything I had learned. And little by little, they started becoming stronger too. Together, we all stood up to those bullies from school. And when I finally got my period, I announced it in front of the entire class as if I was proud of it. I didn't do it because it had any special significance. I did it because it was my body and I felt happy with it. Now, the battle was worse at home and is going on more slowly. However, at least I do feel that I've grown up and that I'm now a little woman. And it's not just due to the period, but due to me thinking for myself and supporting my friends. The backwards ideas some people have really suck. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!